season, I'm participating in a Kin Community Ornament Exchange here on YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how I made this felt ampersand ornament for Karen Cabot, who has one of my favorite YouTube channels ever. Stay tuned to the end of this video where I'll show you the ornament that I received in this exchange, and be sure to watch the whole Ornament Exchange playlist to get all kinds of creative ideas for how to make your own ornaments. This felt ampersand ornament is an especially great gift for someone like Karen who loves typography and graphic design, and it's really simple to make. First, I'm choosing an ampersand to use as a template. I picked Helvetica Bold, made it a few inches tall, and since I'm using Adobe Illustrator, I swapped the black fill to a stroke to save ink. If you're using a program that won't let you make an outline, that's okay too. Next, print the template out and cut out the shape with scissors. To remove the holes in the middle of the ampersand, I lightly folded the paper so I could make a cut on that fold, and then I used that cut to remove the rest of the piece. Stack 2 layers of black felt, or really whatever color you'd like, and pin the paper template on top so you can cut out 2 identical ampersands. This time I found that cutting out the holes is easier one felt piece at a time, so I separated the 2 layers and took turns attaching the template to each piece and cutting out both holes. This can be a little bit tricky, but with a sharp pair of fabric scissors and some patience, you'll eventually have them looking great. Once your felt ampersands are ready, it's time to cut out a 3rd layer to stabilize them. Pin your template to a sheet of plastic canvas mesh, which I found in the embroidery section of a craft store, and cut it out carefully. This time I cut out the holes from the back side so I could see the template through the mesh, but the paper was out of my way. So once I cut that piece out, I put one of the felt ampersands on top to see how much of the mesh sticks out on the sides, and then I trimmed down the edges a bit so this layer would stay hidden. Next, stack your mesh ampersand between the 2 felt ones and pin all 3 pieces together. Cut a pretty good length of embroidery floss, I chose red, and thread it onto an embroidery needle and knot the end. Hide your knot by starting the needle between the layers of felt at the bottom corner of the top hole like this. Tuck it in so you won't see it later. Now we're going to sew an outline along all of the edges of the ampersand, going through all 3 layers with your stitches so all of the pieces will be firmly attached. I'm using the running stitch, which is a basic stitch where you push the needle down, pull the thread all the way through, and then skip a small space before you push the needle straight back up. It looks like a dashed line and is perfect for beginners. Once you get around the top hole with your extra thread on the underside of the piece, flip it over and shallowly push your needle under just 1 layer to transfer it to the top corner of the bottom hole where your next stitches will start. That way the extra thread is hidden on the inside. Stitch your outline around the 2nd hole, ending with your thread on the underside again. This time, finish with the same process where your needle only pokes under 1 layer of felt, but this time pull it to the outside of the shape. Before we finish sewing, we need to add a few details, so put your needle aside and remove the pins holding the piece together. Cut a length of ribbon to use as a loop to hang the ornament. It should reach a few inches above and below the ampersand when doubled in half with the loop at the top. To start to hold the ribbon in place, push one end between the fabric layers and the holes in the ampersand. Then grab the other end of the ribbon and push that through the opposite side so they cross in the middle with the loop at the top. Then gently pull on both ends until you like the height of your loop at the top. Keep adjusting it, making sure that the ribbon stays between the layers so it'll stay put when you sew around the outside edges of your ornament. With the pieces of ribbon sticking out at the bottom, tie a double knot and then a bow. Next, I wanted to add some sparkle. Thread a needle with some regular sewing thread and knot the end. Then, secure a few sequins by poking the needle up through just the top layer of fabric to hide your knot and push it through the center of the sequin. Then push your needle back down through the top layer on the edge of the sequin so you don't see your stitches on the back side of the piece. Keep doing this until your sequins are secured with at least 2 stitches each, then flip over the top layer of felt so you can tie a knot like this and trim the extra thread. Now, all that's left to do is finish your embroidery floss running stitches around the outside of the whole shape. Poke the needle you were using earlier back up into the top layer of felt like this so the floss is pretty much hidden along the edge. Then continue sewing. When you reach the loop of ribbon, hold it in place at the center of the top of your ornament and keep sewing across the ribbon. Once you do this, it will stay put. The whole time, try to keep your stitches as even as you can and make them all the same distance from the edge. The plastic canvas layer can be a little tough to sew through, but if you hit it with your needle, just move your needle aside slightly to make your stitch. That canvas will keep your ornament sturdy, so it's worth a little trouble.
When you get back around to where you started, flip the piece to the back and make a shallow stitch from the last point to the outside of the ampersand like we did earlier. Then tie a knot by grabbing the edge of the plastic mesh layer with your needle, pulling your needle through the loop in the embroidery floss, and pulling it tightly. Hide the excess thread by pushing your needle between the layers and back out again an inch or so away. Trim it close to the felt, and that is your finished ornament. You can hang this ampersand on your Christmas tree, on your door, or really anywhere you want. This would also make a really great gift.
I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that you found it useful. You can even use these same techniques to make any letter or simple shape to customize this ornament for a friend. And if you make one, send me a picture of it on Twitter at @LaurenMyrtle. As I mentioned earlier, this video is part of a playlist with a bunch of other really creative and wonderful YouTube channels. And I was so excited when I got this ornament in the mail from DIY channel Tutu Amy. She made these little needle felted versions of my cat's Sam and Frodo, and I absolutely love them. They even have thumbs. They're perfect. Thank you so much, Amy. To watch Amy's video, along with all of the other awesome videos on the Ornament Exchange playlist, click on one of these thumbnails or read the video description for links. I'm so excited to be part of this playlist because these channels inspire me quite a bit. If you enjoy their videos too, make sure to subscribe to your favorites. In the comments, I'd love to hear about the ways that you guys decorate for the holidays. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon!